Well, hey, Crossroads, Merry Christmas. We are 3 days away from the big day. And at church, we've been talking about the glory of God. And isn't there something just so glorious about Christmas lights? And we're going to ask the question today: how do I display the light of God's glory this season? We're going to be looking in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 6 through 7. So it says this: For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all surpassing power is from God and not from us. So, God, the commander of light, made his light shine. Where did it say? In our hearts. And why? So that we would know him and make him known. His light, his glory, his treasure. It says that he put it in jars of clay. These hard yet fragile, breakable, very ordinary vessels. Nothing sparkly or shiny about it. In fact, I'd say it's pretty dark inside a clay pot, but its purpose is to be filled. And I just love that we serve a God who puts his glory in and loves to put his glory in the most unexpected places, in ordinary vessels, ordinary people. And that's because his glory is more clearly displayed in these places. I mean, think about the Christmas, the characters of the Christmas story. You've got the shepherds who are like the lowest of the low in that society, and yet the angels appear to them. You've got Zechariah and Elizabeth, who are ordinary country folk, going about their priestly duties, and God gives them a son who is going to prepare the way for Jesus. You've got Mary, a teenage girl, and Joseph, a carpenter. God loves using ordinary people to do extraordinary things. And yet I think how often I want to, make myself something special, like paint the outside of my earthenware jar so that God's glory will shine more clearly. But that's not how it works, because then it would be making it about me. And it's never been about the container, it's always been about the contents. Verse 5, the previous verse says, "For we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ is Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake." So this Christmas, how do we display the light of God's glory? Well, we can resist the temptation to make it about the outward appearance of our vessel, of our earthenware jars, and just let God's light shine through all the cracks and the crevices and the dents, because that's really the only way that light gets through an earthenware jar is through the cracks and the mess ups. And verse 7 in the New Living Translation reads this way. It says, "We now have this light shining in our hearts, but we ourselves are like fragile clay jars containing this great treasure. This makes it clear that our great power is from God and not ourselves." So God's job is to bring the glory. It's God who makes his light dwell within us. And our job is to just let people see God's glory shining through all the ordinariness of our daily lives. And that is so hopeful to me. I hope that encourages you today and as you go into the Christmas season. I hope to see you at our Christmas Eve services, and Merry Christmas, everyone.